Okay, so let's talk about how do you know God's will? Some basic rules about how you would know. This is the hardest one for our culture, right? We live in a culture where it's very much about me. And the Bible clearly teaches it ain't about me. If you go to Psalm 100, in verse 3, I love Psalm 100. It's very short. It's one of those little psalms that's easy to memorize. It says in verse 3, know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who made us and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. How do you think that goes over in American culture? Right? We're just sheep. The second rule is it's all about Him. It's not about me. If you want to know His will, you have to get out of this thought about me, and what I want, and spend your efforts about Him and who He is. In Isaiah 43, verse 7, and Patricia, I told you I'd give you, if you got the book and you got a handout on the book, we go much deeper on this stuff in the book. This is right around page 375, and page 374 is this very thing we're talking about here. Okay? Isaiah 43, verse 7, everyone who is called by my name, whom I created for my glory. Just think about what God is saying. The reason I created you to live on this earth is for me. Is that not crazy? I didn't create you so you can go do what you want. I actually designed you before you even became anything in your mother's womb with a specific plan I have for you. And I have this discussion a lot with non-believers. I've had people tell me, there's no way God can forgive me for some of the things I've done. There's no way, because of who I see myself as, that I could ever know Him. I'm like, God doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care. You know what He cares about? The same thing parents do. He cares about who you can be. If you just think about it, if we cared about exactly where our kid was at right at that moment, we would never sleep and we would be driving ourselves crazy. We have a plan in our heads, a vision that we have for our children, for them to be successful, right? Be honest. We have value systems we teach them, but we know along the way, many, many times, they're not even going to come close. And God knows that. So I always tell people, you don't understand who you're dealing with Jesus Christ. He's not interested in who you are. He's interested in who He designed you to be. And He's dying, He already has died, in order for you to fulfill the purpose He has for you. It's real simple. Trust Him. Does that make sense? Since God has a purpose for me, He must want me to know it. One of the saddest things about when the Twin Towers were taken down by the terrorists is that Allah is an avenger and a hater. And the only way in Islam, if you have violated or sinned, if you're a sinner, the only way you could possibly get out of there and balance the scales with Allah is through jihad. Is if you're willing to give your life to kill infidels. That's it. So these letters they found in their suitcases describe the joys they're going to have at that moment, and to be, literally, Muhammad Atta, the leader, said, be joyful, be ready, don't be afraid, because paradise awaits you with virgins from Allah, right? So they don't know Allah. Allah is not knowable personally. God, with us, with the theistic God, with the Bible, we would hope that He wants to know us so He could reveal for us His will. And where do you find it? Right? We got it right here. This is what we're going to do in this class, is go through and understand this idea of knowing God's will for your life. Because he tells us that. Is that important? Is it an important doctrine in the Bible? Look at what Paul says. He says in Colossians, "For this reason we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, to ask that you be filled with the knowledge of his will, in all wisdom and spiritual understanding, you may have a walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing him, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God." So he ties understanding and knowing God's will with knowing him personally. You see that? This is a big deal.